Like other WordPress themes, X has a theme options page. A theme options page allows users to customize different parts of a theme. This is how the X theme options page looks like. In this video, we'll be discussing how to access the theme options page. So if you're on the front end, there's a different way to access it. If you're on the admin dashboard, there's another way to access that page. And if you're editing with Cornerstone or the other types of builders like the global block builder or the template manager, there's also a way to access the theme options page. And I'm going to be showing you all of them. Next, we will take a look at the different parts of the options page. And lastly, I'll give you an overview of the options we will be using. So in this video, I will not go in depth on all the options, but I'm just going to point to you which ones we'll be learning on this series. Okay, so let's get started. So if you're on the front end, the way to access the theme options page is hovering over this X menu on the admin toolbar. And if you're using Pro, what we'll be showing here is Pro. But the purpose of but on this series will be just using X. So almost everything here is applicable to Pro as well. So if you're on the front end, hover on the X menu and go to theme options. It should lead you to the theme options page. Okay, so next, if you are editing a page using Cornerstone, okay, so this is a page editing a Cornerstone page, you'll have this hamburger menu here. You can just click that and go to options. The same thing with the other builders. So if you're using global blocks, and we will be discussing global blocks in somewhere in this series, you also have the same menu, this hamburger menu. Just click on that, go to options. The same thing happens if you are on the template manager. Okay, so you have those options. And lastly, if you're on the admin dashboard, okay, here you'll see X and just go to theme options. Okay, so those are the three ways to access the theme options page. Okay, so we have this theme options page open now, and let's take a look at the different parts. So on this right side, you'll see the live preview uh, panel, and it's called live preview because whatever you change here, as long as it is relevant to the page being viewed, it will show to you the effects of the change. So for something very quick, let me show you the layout and design option, and let me change the background color. Right now it's gray, light gray. Let me turn it to red. Okay, you'll see it's loading and it has changed to red. If I want to add an image, no, we don't have an image, so let's just let go of that for now. But yeah, that's a very quick one of the quick ways to see the change, and we're just going to go back to the old style we had, so we gray. Now this doesn't mean that the changes have been applied to the live site. Okay, so if I change it to red here, you see on the preview it's red, but if we look at the front end, it hasn't changed. So I'm going to click the save button, which is right here, and let's take a look at the front end. Now the change has been applied. Okay, so that's the live preview pane, and we're going to revert to the old style. Okay, so that's that. Then next is the options page. Pane. Sorry for that. Pane. So these are the different options, and we're going to be taking a look at some of them, which is just uh, what you'll be needing on this short series on how to build a website using X. We will not tackle every single one of them. Okay, so this is the options pane. Then there is a search field. You can easily look for the option you need, for the setting you need within each of these main options. So let's say we want to change the color of, again, the background color, and you want to quickly access that option. You can simply just type in background and it will show you the background color. And just make sure you're looking at these grade headings here, which will show you on which option this option is, which main option this specific option is. So you see, this one has a this one is layout and design, which is what we looked at earlier. Layout and design. The purpose of that is because if we write, for example, color, and it matches a lot. So there's color for the heading, there's a color for the buttons, there's background colors, there's text colors, and in order for you to know quickly which one you would want to change, you'll see, and you'll have to take note which main option it belongs to. So if we want to change the body color, which is right now here, kind of like grayish, we can change it to, oops, didn't change. It's blue now. And we know that this is the correct one because it is under the body and content option inside the typography option. And let's take a look at that very quickly. So we have typography, and you can go down and there's this body and content option, which contains the body font color, which we've edited earlier. Okay, so that's the purpose of the search field here. Then let's take a look at this part. Okay, so this part is the toolbar. You can call it the toolbar basically, and it contains the different for one, we have the CSS option, and if you click this, you can enter CSS, custom CSS, which is global. So we have here global CSS. That means whatever you put here will be applied to the entire site and not just to a specific site. Later in this course, I'm going to show you a way to limit your CSS to just one page. But for now, this one is useful for everything, basically. So if you're familiar with CSS, let's just give this one, okay, the entry title, a background color, and we don't have an option for that in the typography, but we can add, we can change that using CSS. So if you're familiar with CSS, oh, let's just copy this. You can click here, copy the selector here, and we'll add the CSS. So say we add background color green. Now you have a green background color there, okay, and it's available everywhere. Okay, and if you are the coding type of person and you're familiar with JavaScript, just click here and you can add JavaScript code here. So since I'm familiar with jQuery, I'm going to add a jQuery code here, which just says hello world. I'm gonna save it, and I'm going to open this. It says hello world. Okay, so that's a way to add a jQuery code, and this is global as well. That means that this code that you put here, it will be available on all pages. Okay, and the next part is I don't know how you call this, but this just look at what this does. If you click this, if you toggle this, it will hide the options. Okay, so it's kind of like the hide and show option button. So click here, it hides the options, and if you click again, it displays the options. Then we have this mobile phone icon, which is for responsiveness. So let's click that, and you'll see that different mobile device sizes are displayed on the top. You see that this is 1200 and up, and you can just change, and you'll see here what happens. So this is the 979 to 768 screen size looks like. This is 767, and for mobile phones 480 and below, this is how it looks. And this is a good way for you to test how your uh, page or your site looks like on different devices. This is quite helpful, and that so that you don't need to go on the front end, although you can do that if you wish, if you're more comfortable with that, but that's not necessary anymore. Doing this is not necessary because you have this one. Okay, and we also have this button, which I think you've already seen earlier. If you click, it will go to the page you are looking at. Okay, so I'm saying the page you are looking at because you can set a different page on this live preview. So you see, this is live preview, and I'm going to click one blog post here. It will load the page, or the post rather. This is helpful if you want to use the global themes, the theme options to customize a certain parts of your site. So here I'm looking at the hello world post, and this is how it looks. And if I click this, it will open the hello world page. Okay, so whatever is loaded here on the live preview, whatever page it is the page that will be opened on a new tab if you click this preview button. Okay, so we're going to close these. Next, we have this settings button. It will open up a modal, and it has 4 tabs: preferences, colors, fonts, and cheat sheets. Cheat sheets shows you, yeah, as the name implies, it is a cheat sheet. It tells you different, like this one, it tells you how we use the different terminology. So when we're referring to a content builder, this is what it means. If we're referring to a header builder, and this is what it means. When we say font manager, you just need to read this and you'll understand what we mean by that. It also contains keyboard shortcuts for different actions, like save. You can just enter, press the command if you're on Mac, and control if you're using Windows, and S to save, kind of like what you're doing if you're using Word or any, which is kind of universal. Then we have the both the colors and the font tabs, and I will not be discussing them on this video. They will have a dedicated video because both of these are important parts of your site building repertoire. Okay, and we have preferences here. So preferences, this is a bit of an important part, but I will not show you in this video how to use this. There are certain options here that can be useful, but we will look at these when we are starting with the editing a page on Cornerstone, because that's where this is most relevant to. But I'm going to discuss just one of these options. You see here, there's this UI theme option. Currently, the value is light. This means that this theme options page uses white, and it has the light, kind of like a light theme or skin to it. But if you want to use a dark skin, you can just select dark, and everything goes dark. If you're if you're a dark kind of person, you can use that. And this not only applies to the theme options page, but also to Cornerstone. Okay, so I'm going to edit this page using Cornerstone, and now it's on the dark theme now, unlike earlier. Okay, so that's the purpose of the dark theme. Okay, so going back to the theme options page, I don't like the dark theme. It's just my personal preference to use the white theme, so I'm going to use that. And I think that's all. And just you'll see, you've seen this before. This is the save button, so anything you do and you want to reflect, you just need to click the save button first. If you don't click that, the changes will not be reflected. Okay, so lastly, I'm going to quickly discuss to you what options we will be using in this tutorial. So, so I'm going to say this. We will be using everything with the exception of two. The first one is the buttons, and you might be wondering why, because my demo showed buttons, and why on earth will we not be using the buttons option? And the reason is because we will be using the V2 elements instead of the classic button element. And this is not useful if you're using the this is useful for the classic elements, but that's not what we're going to be using. So we can just skip this, and we will also be skipping the portfolio options for the reason that we don't have portfolio. We won't be using portfolios in the sample site. So if you are using on your own site, if you're using that, you can take advantage of this. Also, if you own your own projects, you would like to use the classic button instead of the V2 button, you can use this. And if you're not familiar between what the difference is between the classic button and the V2 button, just know this: the classic button is easier to use because you can just put it there. You can drag it on the canvas using Cornerstone, and it just works out of the box. The only thing is, if you want to customize it heavily, you will need to use CSS. Unlike the V2 button, it is a lot more flexible. It takes some time. It takes a few minutes to configure, but once you've done that, you can just use the design using presets so that you can reuse it across the entire site. It's a little more, it has a lot more options, but it also gives you the greater flexibility that you will not find in the classic elements. And I will be showing you that. I will be showing you the V2 button in one part, I think, of this series. So yeah, that's that. So on the next video, I will be showing you, I will be giving you a tour on the different options, and we will be setting these options to accommodate the design that we want. So stick around. Thank you.